Good morning. How'd y'all sleep last night? Are you having fun yet? Okay. I prompted myself to address this subject, but certainly every little short video I've ever put up since, when was it, Reno, Nevada, back in the summer of 2020, it's really just the same stuff. What's in your mirror? Whatever's in your mirror is informing you of what's in your mirror. Okay. Like I told my parents, get rid of that television set. It's in my mirror. It's trying to program me, which means what it is I'm experiencing in that mirror, I'm recording in my memory. Get the fuck out of here. Right? Because you know it's not what love is. The Matrix broke it all down, and particularly in the Avatar, running programs within programs within programs within programs. So if you are what love is, then you know the difference between what is and what isn't a program. I'm not running their programs because it isn't what love is. They're trying to control what I experience through their programming. Codes, mathematical codes. And one of the great things that the Avatar Cyber Wars brought out was the simplicity of it. And even in the one I watched last night, which is Matrix Resurrection, and they tell you flat out, what is a game? Most children have played games in America. I grew up playing games, Candy Lane, Monopoly, right? Cribbage, hearts, spades, going to any jailhouse. What do you think they do most of the time? Competing against each other. Go look at any football game. They're competing against each other. Any ping pong, any tennis court, any baseball diamond, a diamond, 9 players on the field. You know, and so they're competing against each other, force against force, X against X. What are they trying to do? Well, ever play chess? Out strategize you, 7 moves, 7 colors on the rainbow, bridge. So I watched part of, I don't normally follow Maria Colvin Hill, even though she provides a lot of information. But it's pretty obvious when you're following information, and she's an informer of what she's aware of at the moment that she's aware of it, that she's communicating with us. That's what it is. Okay? I never met the lady. She has a sweet voice. She talks all about love, puts love on her t-shirt. Okay? And I'm not saying she isn't experiencing a love vibration in her own heart that she's sharing with you. Okay? But she also shares information that gives reason people to do what? Experience a lower frequency and a lower negative reaction state. And that is particularly true, right? What she showed yesterday, she takes you to a Pentagon presentation, okay, about 90 days, artificial intelligence control. See, all you got to do is look at all the stars and bars on that uniform. That's top down. You do what I say because I'm in charge, right? So when you're a monad, a single pole on a planet ship, right, and you realize that I am what love is, which means I am the law of one, which is the highest law, which is what love is, I'll share a couple experiences with you. Because it doesn't have anything to do with how many bars you got on your collar, Mr. or Mrs. If you're breaking the law, I'm going to let you know. See, because I stand to a higher law. Your bars and your stars and your rank means 0. If you're violating the law of one. So I could give you a number of examples, but I'll give you one. I was a fire captain at the United States Naval Weapons Station in Seal Beach, California, and this would have been like 1980, I guess it was. And here was a guy who at the time was the acting fire chief. So you know they got nukes and everything else there, right? So I received training through the Naval Ordnance Disposal outfit, right? And how to deal with all this bad stuff. And naturally out of that, you get what's called a Q clearance, which is called the Department of Energy Qs. Like Q, you know, put it in the queue and you can pop it up, you know, a Q card, Q cards, memory cards, flash cards. So they play games, AI war games with letters and numbers, which is called language, which is called codes, code talkers, right? Go ask the Navajo code talkers. So in this particular case, this guy was the assistant chief, and he's actually the guy that hired me. And so what ends up happening is they fill what's called a billet, which is called a bin number, which is called a code number for an occupational code. In the military war machine sector of theater, war theater, okay? That's what they do. They play theater. They're AI war gamers, okay? That's obvious. They tell you that. Okay, so you can get into cyborg armies and all the rest of it, right? Which is cybernetic, right? And so in this particular case, this assistant chief, when I was with him, he was giving instructions to the crew that I realized was putting us in jeopardy. So if you're a monad with a mother and a father joined as one, which is an eternal love vibration, you want to protect everybody, including the fire chief, the assistant chief, everybody. Because you have the highest state of awareness of anything that's going to produce what? A future threat where somebody might get harmed. Because this is inside time, outside time. Right? Log in, log out. And so there was a day in which that happened. Now, in the chain of command, when your superior officer tells you this is the way it's going to be, and you decide to get the rest of the crew on your side, that's called a mutiny. Right? And that's called a captain's mast, right? In the British Navy, you're going to go before a tribunal to be executed for mutiny. Remember, Mutiny on the Bounty with Clark Gable? Yeah. See? So what I basically did was I was mutinying against my officer, my higher officer. He was an assistant chief. So in this particular case, you can go to the higher command. Let's go to the higher boss here. Right? So I realized even if I go to your boss, which is the fire chief, right, who's over all of us, if I'm not getting any satisfaction on knowing what the law is, which is what love is, at his level, then I'll go to base command, right? That's a captain in the United States Navy. I don't get any satisfaction out of him, I'll go to an admiral. And we'll just keep going all the way up the helix ladder, right? From 1D, 2D, the underworld, all the way to the top, all the way up the... Actually, you don't even got to go up. All you got to do is go deep into your heart and soul and know what the truth is and know what love is, because that's what you experience. So you know that you're experiencing the highest law, because that's what grows a flower. That means you care about life. You put life first, because life is a sacred temple. So when you're putting all life sacred, and you're a fire captain, then it means I stand for the law of one. That's the highest law. That's the highest code of honor. And that means I'll go up every single rank till I find one. But you realize that in this game that they play with us, because of the mirror that they're in, it's a war mirror, and my mirror is a peace and love mirror, they're different mirrors, aren't they? So you realize as you go up their ladder, they're bigger vampires, because it's all about control, because it's all about competition, all about control. So this is why I mentioned in a previous video that I did last night, is that when you become one, you don't struggle over control no more. So their perception of power is inverted. I figure you all know what an inverter is, right? They want to be at the top of the pindar, which is a penis dragon, which means get on your knees and suck the penis. Okay? So you know they don't have any love for a female. And you certainly know they got no female side to who they are to experience balance between the two. That's what it means to be one. To be one in balance with Adam and Eve. You know what I'm saying? An electron, a proton, a neutron. Right? So those energies are in balance between both of them. You're in a state of peace. That means that your water worlds are not experiencing any turbulence. They're not being disturbed or distracted in order for you to experience something against your own free will, because they love to control everything. That's called a perversion. That's why they're perverts. They're a perversion of nature. They do evil things. They don't put life first. They put themselves first. And that's why they have to control everything, because they live in a state of fear. Because they see things as a risk. Oh my God, if I ever lost control, I can't stand losing control. Because they don't understand the law of least effort, to implicitly trust the energy that creation began with, which is what love is. So instead, they live in fear of being what love is, in energy. And that means they live in a lie, which is why they're unsane. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. So why would a population of beings on this planet allow control freaks, psycho AI pathway control freaks, allow themselves to be controlled by that? Right? Remember what the guy said in Matrix Resurrection? How easy it was to program humans, put them under a tent, a circus tent, keep them distracted all the time. Most of the time, once they're assimilated, they're not even going to know the difference anyway. And those are all your Mr. Smiths. If you understand what assimilation is, the Q on Star Trek showed what the Borg assimilation is. Once you don't know the difference between what it is and what you are in the mirror, then you are what it is. It means you no longer remember being a Neo. Neo had to wake up, didn't he? He remembered the girl. Never being separated from the flower. Always being one with the flower. Adam being one with Eve. So when she put this little pentagon thing up about 90 days, 333, 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, right? Okay, 90 days, she said. 90 days. 90 days, huh? 90 days. Add it up. That's what they do. They run numbers games on people's minds, which means your energy, which is what your mind is, because the battlefield is for your mind's energy. See? So the first thought I have is, what motivation does this woman have for putting that up on there? Right? Now we can go over to Yellow Rose for Texas. In one of her videos that she did about updates, about how this war is being fought. Right? I can remember a time when Patty Broussard herself said, they have clones, we have clones. They wear masks, we wear masks. Alex Jones, Information Wars, informing you of this information. Does it represent what love is? No, it doesn't, does it? See? So what you can tell a lot of times is that it's not so much what you do say as what you don't say that discloses what side you're working on. But how can you tell? You know what controlled opposition is, right? I remember I said this one time before. Go watch a good movie that was put out with Christopher Plummer called Triple Cross. You know what it means to be crisscrossed, right? The X. See what a switchblade is? The blade and the chalice are always together. That's a monad. That's a single pole. That's the bullseye in the law of spheres, which is what atom is, cycling at the highest speed of a love vibration. So when you're getting this information from people, then you can sort through the information. Now, when I was a child, anything that's less than what love is, isn't what I am. So is she giving you information that represents what love is? No, that's not information that represents what love is. Then why is she expressing and showing you things that might produce a negative reaction state in somebody? Who's she really working for? Who's she really working for? Do you know? I already gave a qualifier on this, because this is what I realized. I could share a lot of experiences of people that I loved, that I thought had love in their heart, and I ended up with a grand jury indictment against me because people that you think that you can trust, you can't trust because now they're working for the other side, which means it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you can talk like a duck, walk like a duck. Right? Remember the old Pied Piper leading you along? Remember the old saying, if you need others to inform you of what's going on, you don't know what's going on. Love always knows what's going on when you are really experiencing a love vibration, being what a monad is, an oversoul. So what happens is, if you look at the video that Rose put up, she was talking about how certain psychological operations are being conducted by both sides in order to protect people. Okay? She mentions that because one thing that we do know when she talked about 90s is we know this. This AI is scanning because it's connected us through our DNA. It's looking for date stamps. That's right. We're the allied forces of mankind, and that AI is never going to know that date. So why are they handing out dates? Figure it out. It's all about knowing when. The pit. There was a guy that put up a very perceptive little quote the other day about rise of the machines, the singularity of AI consciousness, the digital, virtual, perfect world, the dystopian of Dante's comedy, Brave New World, Metropolis. They've been informing people of all this for quite a while, right? Including a lawsuit in federal court in San Diego against Google, NASA, Singularity University, right? And he mentioned something about scorched earth, on whether the machines would take over to AI, and where the scorched earth came first, us or them. No souls and souls, right? So now you get into the separation of what are known as branch directories between seeded races, and what we call energy debts and accountability for the energy debts and the crimes that have been committed against heaven. That's where all the fire is, by the way. Have a great day. I love you all.